Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Link to the Past Randomizer Fall 2019 tournament match. We are in the thick of things here in this group queue, I believe. We got AsclepiosRod versus Fatboy300. This is the lower end of the brackets. Both these rando runners are going to be fighting for a chance to go against either Zero Rush or Andy, depending on the outcome of that match. For a spot into the bracket stage of this tournament. I am Slim Kirby, one of your commentators for this match, being joined by Sir Linkalot777. Are you ready to see who's going to win this rando match?
I am very ready to see who is going to win this rando match. I believe it's going to be a very, very good close race. We'll see who kind of takes the series lead 1-0 and who kind of gets their back pushed to the wall, and we'll be facing elimination next time.
Yeah, for sure. And as I mentioned, both these runners, in order to get to this point, they did have their first round match. AsclepiosRod lost against Andy, Fatboy lost against Zero Rush. Two very, very experienced runners in Link to the Past Randomizer. You see their names in pretty much every tournament so far. So, definitely no easy feat to even go against those two. But still putting on their best showing, and they're going to try to bring it back and try to get some revenge in the next phase of this group. But unfortunately, only one will be able to get to that point, and we're going to see which one of these runners will get to that point.
Yeah, we really should be getting started any second here. They started pretty much right on time from what we were told, so...
As usual, this being a Game 1, we have our standard settings that we used for qualifiers. So we got open mode, we got 7/7 crystals, defeat Ganon, standard dungeon item distribution, so all that good stuff. Didn't find anything of relevance there in Link's house, unfortunately, but looks like they both are going to be doing a standard kind of Uncle start here. Check the 2 items here, see if you can maybe get a weapon for Hyrule Castle. If not, potentially working off some of the other Light World checks they have.
Yeah, in the map check there, it looked like we had some blue crystals on Eastern Desert, I believe I saw, and we got a blue pendant up on Tower of Hair.
Nice, interesting. So it looks like our uncle today is just going to have a little bit of cash as far as the chest. We'll see on Fatboy's screen in just a moment. More cash.
Yeah, so nothing huge out of the Uncle escape. The bombs you got at a Link's house are nice, though. You don't have to worry about finding bombs in the early part before you hit Kakariko, and you can clear all of that with bombs before you have to go buy them at the very least.
Yeah, still doesn't hurt to maybe check a few extra things, and also a nice fire rod there in the back of Sanctuary, so that's going to be a good kind of early game weapon. Does rely a bit on magic, but still always good to have for some of those early parts of the game when you're more than likely do not have a sword yet.
Yeah, and both of them having that full magic refill that they got while doing the Uncle start. They've got plenty of shots right now for that if they need to.
Yeah, the big use for that will more than likely be Mini Moldorm Cave, which we'll probably see a bit later. Could even get another item before then, but both runners actually going to be going straight to the Lost Woods, not checking the Lumberjack item yet. And look at that, we have an item that doesn't use any magic.
Yeah, you're talking about we'll have to use that for a little bit. Maybe it's Mini Moldorm still, because those Mini Moldorms are not fun to hit with a hammer. But
yeah.
After that, I'm sure we're going to be seeing some more hammer time.
Definitely. And just a vanilla piece of heart inside the Thieves drop down here. So with that, we are off to Kakariko.
We got quite a few items so far. In the start from Sanctuary, we've got 2 major items. We'll see if Kakariko's has anything else, or if we've got a lackluster Kakariko. We've seen quite a few of those this tournament so far.
Yeah, and you normally see a lot of those in the map and compass shuffle feature, which is a potential toggle for Game 2 and Game 3, just because there's more items added to the general pool. We do get a sword here, though, in Blind's hideouts. Some other small things here and there as we check the back.
Yeah, bombs, heart piece, some rupees, and then in the back we got 10 arrows.
Man, like literally, like every one of those just like basic consumables at the top of the at the top of the item HUD. There, we got rupees, bombs, arrows, and hearts.
Yeah, sadly no bow to use those arrows we found, but who knows? Maybe we'll find one of those here in Kakariko before we leave.
Like you said, like Kakariko's honestly not looking so bad so far. Guess we only got a sword, but still, it's something.
I don't think you're ever gonna say no to a sword.
No, I mean, you definitely need two to beat the game, so definitely not. We are going to find a bottle here in the back of Kakariko Well that'll give us some a safety item, as well as a check we have here in Kakariko, as well as the Cane of Samaria, a late game item. Don't know if we'll need it yet, but still good to have just in case.
Yeah, we also got a rupee hoard, which gives us more than enough money to do kind of everything we need in Kakariko and gets us really close to that Zora money we'll need.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And just 10 arrows here in the back of the chicken hut.
Best thing about finding that bottle where we did in the well is what we're going to see A-Rod do on his side is we can check the sick kit before we're leaving, so we don't have to kind of orphan this location if we find a late bottle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Just some bombs, though, but still, you're at 6 bombs. If you pick up more bombs in the back of the tavern, I don't think you'll end up buying them. We got an ice rod.
Okay, yeah, it's official. Kakariko looking pretty good today, I gotta say.
I only hope we find a medallion before we leave, because then we could just say this was, like, maybe the key to Turtle Rock.
Yeah. Of course, it'll end up being Pendant Turtle Rock, and of course, we don't want to do that, but we'll see. We'll see anyway.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. The library just has 20 rupees. Race game is a heart container. Sure, we'll see both runners probably save and quit. If you do it blind, probably... Oh, never mind. I thought he was going to go back for it for a second there.
And with that, A-Rod going back to the sanctuary here. I think he's going to be doing some Houlihan strats, if I'm not mistaken.
That would not be a bad idea. It would get him over the 500 rupee threshold in case you really don't find any on this. So if you want to do a fake flipper to Zora, you've got the money for it already.
And you know, it almost makes me wonder if this could be a play based on what happened in one of his previous games against Andy, where you're talking a bit before this race started. But yeah, in one of their races, Zora actually had vanilla flippers, and that kind of held A-Rod back a little bit in that race. So maybe he's kind of thinking, well, let me get this money now, and that way I won't have another situation like that in this game.
Yeah, Zora is one of those locations, if you leave behind, it takes you a good amount of time to get back to it. And it doesn't take much to actually be able to get to Zora. You only need a glove or the flipper.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem to be anything of major value here at the Southern Shore Dam. Just some rupees, it looks like.
50 rupees, which Fatboy will pick up, and single rupees on Bush Crab, because he swings about 136 rupees to be able to get to Zora himself now without doing the Houlihan glitch, but we're going to go into the mini Moldorm cave. 5 chests in here once we kill the 4 mini Moldorms.
And now that we have that sword, mini Moldorms are not going to be much of a problem.
Right, so major things of note out of mini Moldorm cave. We got hookshot and half magic. We also picked up Uncle Bombs here as well.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, the hookshot going to be the major thing we're going to be finding from there. Half magic, definitely great, though. Good for just kind of a backup safety item, especially if you're not super confident in using of your magic. Sometimes runners, like myself, tend to overuse magic a bit sometimes, so not bad to find that have magic somewhere.
So A-Rod gets his prizes out of Mini Moldorm Cave. Fatboy's about to open up Ice Rod Cave chests, which just has 20 rupees, and looks like he's going to go for a partial fake flipper. We don't have Moon Pearl yet, so won't be able to check Waterfall Cave, but if he wants to, he could check Lumberjack at the very least. Or not Lumberjack, Hobo under the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Who knows, maybe the Hobo has one of our 300s, and it would work out for him. Does look like he is going for that fake flipper play, though, so... Oh, he's actually... Oh, wait, no, he's going over here to see the island. Hylia Island first.
We got a book on Lake Hylia Island.
And that book is just screaming, trying to tell us what's on that pedestal. But we're not going to be able to grab that just yet, as A-Rod does take a save and quit, going back to Link's house. I think at this point, he's probably either going to go to Escape or Eastern. Looks like it's going to be Escape.
So Hobo's got some blue mail. Not a terrible thing to find spending that time, because you get that extra bit of defense, and we're still kind of low on hearts. If we end up getting access to Dark World and we only got 5 hearts, you're not going to say no to blue mail.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting to see the routes. The runners are basically taking the exact same routes. We've just had that little bit of difference where Fatboy went back for the fake.
Mm-hmm, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we had Fatboy go for the Hobo check, and then also A-Rod even went for the Houlihan room on his side. So yeah, pretty similar routes, but just doing 1 or 2 things different here and there. And it's interesting because those 1 or 2 little things could actually be a big determining factor in one of these races. It's really hard to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is, technically a second week game, but, through the first week, we have had a lot of close races, even a couple ties in the first few days. So every little thing kind of counts.
Yeah, definitely. And just 10 arrows, the second chest in the front part of Escape. But yeah, as you mentioned, like, any little thing could mean the difference. Like, A-Rod sitting there to get those extra rupees from Houlihan could benefit him. And, buying something that Fatboy may not be able to afford later in the game. The mail Fatboy found could be advantage to him if, if Lion's being really difficult or something, or Mothula or something like that has the little extra defense. So just really anything these races can come down to.
Yep, we get a map in Zelda's cell. We're going to head to Dark Cross. We have a Fire Rod, so this is in logic with V31.
Yes, it is. And I swear the first time I did a V31 seed with that logic, the lamp was actually in the Dark Cross, and it just was so surreal after many versions of that not being the case. But it can definitely happen now.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that is only when it's advanced item placement. If you do standard, that is not possible. The lamp can't be in a dark room.
That is correct, yes. It needs to be the advanced item placement, which I believe we are using for this tournament, so that will definitely be a possibility.
Yeah, and I don't blame him for lighting the torches. You can get through that room usually fairly quick without lighting the torches, but those ropes, the snakes, can do quite a bit of damage in a hurry, especially on green.
And they're also just really aggressive, too. Like, you wouldn't think about it. They're so small, but no, they can be pretty aggressive. They go right for you, and especially the room where there's, like, a whole bunch of them. That one can be pretty dangerous in the dark.
Yeah. nothing in the escape, so we are pretty much down to Agina's Cave and then Sahasrah's Hut, as well as Eastern Palace now.
Yep, and that is exactly where A-Rod is heading next, Eastern and Sahasrahla. Maybe if we, even then, we're still looking for at least 2 items. We still need the Moon Pearl and a glove upgrade, so pretty likely that they're going to be going into Eastern right after this, unless Sahasrahla is just holding our Dark World access today.
Maybe he is hoarding our items. We'll find out in just a few seconds.
Yeah, just a shield and some hearts, though.
He wants you to be a little bit more defensible with that shield, so...
Mm-hmm. A-Rod is also bypassing the Sahasrahla check for the green pendant. It doesn't really matter so much in this these settings, just because once you get to the Dark World, you'll know it regardless. It's honestly bigger help for key sanity than this mode, but still. Actually, it looks like they're both doing it.
Yep, both are skipping Sahasrahla and not talking to him.
I suppose not talking to him does save a little bit of time, but for me, I just want to get that intel and get that information as soon as possible. Oh, there's one of our Dark World items. First chest in Eastern has our Power Glove, so that will open the back 3 items in Escape. And we could also climb the mountain. It won't be in Logic because no lamp and there's no torches we can light in that room, but it is another possibility. We can get 2 more items from that path if we so choose.
Second item in Eastern is 5 rupees, but yeah, like you were saying, we know there's 2 items in the back of the escape. One of those chests is going to be a key.
Mm-hmm.
But it is 2 very quick items.
Oh, that's right. We do have hook shots. So yeah, that Death Mountain play actually is a bit more lucrative than I initially said. So, and we have hammer, so that could even be a clear of Tower of Hera too.
Yep, we got Fire Rod as well. So definitely, Hera is clearable if we want to take that gamble into a pendant.
Mm-hmm.
We got a big key. We've got the best Eastern Palace you could ask for. Both items, big key. We'll see if we can get 3 items or if we have to go to the dark.
Nice. Red boomerang. So with that, we are done with the Eastern Palace for right now. We'll not be able to complete this dungeon until we get the bow, so gonna be coming back to that later.
Yeah, very possible it's going to get routed in with pod, especially if you have the mirror. Since we know there's no items here, we'll see if pod's even necessary.
And again, if you want to get in the whole logistics of the logic and everything, for that particular Eastern Palace, the lamp is not going to be logically required because we don't need to go to the big key chest room. We can just go straight to the back, and there is a torch in that dark room, so...
Yeah, chances are we're going to find some more progression here in the back of Escape. That's the key. That's not... No. That means Agina's Cave is holding progression.
Oh, yeah, that is correct.
Or Zora. I forgot about Zora.
Oh, yeah, Zora. Because, yeah, we do have that glove now.
The vanilla intended way to get to Zora.
I'm almost wondering if that's why he was, like, A-Rod was doing those sword slashes, because is this going to be Zora again? But it does look like he's going to be going up the mountain first, and it makes sense. There's a lot of items up there, and you almost have to kind of assume that the next item in the progression is most likely going to be the lamp anyway, so you can kind of, you know, forgo that for a little bit and see if you can maybe get some value up here.
Also going to check Lumberjack Ledge. This will be our first check on this. We'll find out if Aghanim is required, at least for this.
Wait, was that a glove?
That looked like a male upgrade.
Oh, male. Oh, yeah, he has a glove. It wouldn't have looked like that. Because I saw something, like, kind of, like, grayish at the into there. Okay, yeah, it was a male. I reviewed the footage. Yeah.
So we are gonna get a trip up Death Mountain. See if Fatboy goes and checks. Nope, he isn't gonna skip checking Lumberjack Ledge, so that's gonna save him some time then.
Of course, if he does get the boots, he may opt to swing over in that direction once he does check Bonk Rocks, but that's for a later date and time in this seed.
Old man was doing some bomb mining in the cave, I guess.
I suppose so.
Yeah, I would be very surprised to see either runner go back for red mail, even if we kill Ega 1.
Yeah, I guess I was mostly saying, like, Fatboy going to check the Lumberjack, not necessarily get the Lumberjack item. If that's what that comment was in reference to.
It was some questions in chat, some chatter in our chat about maybe getting that mail, even if we have to kill Ega 1, but more than likely not. And I'm not surprised to see Fatboy actually going for these 300 rupees since he's still short on Zora money. And more than likely, if you're following the logic, you know at this point you've got a 50-50 shot that Zora's got your item.
Yeah, definitely.
He's actually leaving.
Interesting. Yes, that is correct. In these particular settings, hints are turned off, so the tiles will not be giving us hints.
Okay, never mind. He just saved and quit, went back to old man. I guess maybe this saves a little bit of time. Not walking all the way out if you can't get that bomb jump.
It's pretty close in timing. I guess at that point, do what you feel comfortable with doing, I guess.
Yeah, so far, Paradox Cave, nothing really. Yep, still nothing.
Well, as we mentioned before, there's still the Tower of Hera. We got 2 items there. There's obviously the Spiral Cave chest as well. So there's still 3 item checks we can make. And again, like at this point, this was not necessarily where the game wanted us to go at this point in time. We don't know what that Spear 1 check, or I guess technically Spear 2 for the Zora check, but we still have those early checks still on the table, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the lamp to push us up in this direction.
Yeah, and I would imagine if we don't find, some kind of progression and get towards the Dark World up here, then we're more than likely going to find our Moon Pearl, I would guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so inviting to come up here to Death Mountain because of all those checks. You also activate the save and quit point too at the Old Man Cave, and so yeah, there's definitely a good reason for coming up here for sure. It's just doesn't necessarily have to be what the game wanted us to do at this point in time.
We do get a little bit of image on a major item that potentially might be needed. We find the flippers on the floating island.
Ooh. And at this point, we know that those flippers at some point could lead to the book, because we saw that book on Lake Hylia Island.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Once we have Titan's Mitts, technically Mir would give us full access to Swamp Palace as well.
That's true, yeah, definitely.
Speaking of a mirror...
There it is.
So Titan's Mitts will give us full access to Swamp Palace with the Moon Pearl.
Yeah. And also, I didn't even see that. Oh, I don't think. Oh, yeah, I don't think A-Rod actually got it. But there's the Quake medallion in the lobby chest of Tower of Hera.
Yeah, he just kind of, grabbed the big key and immediately went upstairs. Which I guess technically is not a bad play, because if you don't find both items, you're going to go back there potentially anyways for the tile room. So, a little bit of a
Right.
time save.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
We'll see what Fatboy decides to do when he gets that mirror, because he could just immediately be like, nope, I'm done. I don't think this is a pedestal seed. I'm not grabbing the pendant.
That's true. Yeah, we'll have to see what he does. Yep, he's going for it. He's leaving.
Yeah, we're pretty much leaving the dungeon at the same time. One with the pendant, one with the out. Actually, no. A-Rod's going to go back in. He'll grab Quake.
Yeah, but even then, still going to be pretty close. Fatboy does kind of jump up a little bit ahead, but again, ahead with such a big asterisk. And A-Rod's going straight for the basement.
I think he maybe forgot that chest.
Maybe.
Hopefully he goes back in for it, because, there's a decent chance that we might need Quake for either Misery Mire or Turtle Rock. Don't know if they are crystals yet, but...
It all depends on what he does. He may see the dungeon on him and he's like, wait, did I mess up somewhere? And then he goes back up and sees it. So he could be fine, but if he thinks that, oh, maybe I already got it, then yeah, that could be problematic.
Yeah, but nothing in Spiral Cave, so Quake and Mirror out of Tower of Hera doesn't give us any kind of progression. He sees the map, so he knows he missed something. Okay, he's going back.
Could have even been a thing where maybe he realized, like, while he was doing Tile Room, it's like, well, I'm already halfway through this coffee break. Let me go ahead and still finish this up.
Yeah, you don't want to have to restart that.
Mm-hmm.
Fatboy is starting with Egg in this cave.
So yeah, if A-Rod decides to go for Zora first instead of this, which could be thinking after, again, that previous race he had with Andy, could be back even again, even with that extra tile room play.
Let's see his progression here. It sure is.
It is. So yeah, the mountain play, although it wasn't bad, we did get two pretty important items out of Pendant Tower of Hera, and we also know where our flippers are going to be too. That Moon Pearl says that the lamp was not the next step in that progression, unless it does happen to be at Zora, which it still very well could. But yeah, those are going to be some great items to take with us to the Dark World, especially the mirror. We can kind of check those mirror spots, which kind of get orphaned out a little bit if you go Dark World without the mirror. So it's good to find that pretty early.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those items you don't want to leave behind. And let's see, we got Green Pendant in Swamp Palace, Red Pendant in Skull Woods, and we got Turtle Rock and Ice Palace as our 5/6 crystals.
So yeah, we will need definitely a medallion, maybe even two medallions. So good that we got that Quake medallion when we did.
So hype cave, no hype.
I would say Hype Cave, what happened to you? But there was a race recently where there was two bows, one of the rods, and then like another important item in there. So it's still hype, just not all the time.
It has its moments, just like
yeah. And just a piece of heart on Stumpy, so Fatboy gonna continue on. Probably gonna check Cave 45, that he has that mirror. And with just 5 rupees in K45, we're going to be heading over to the digging game next.
So I will put this out here because I know chat likes to talk about this as soon as possible, so we'll go ahead and say this. Pedestal is actually very close to being accessible.
It definitely is. All we need at this point are the mitts to put that flippers in logic, so we can actually get to Swamp Palace.
Yeah, and then we need a lamp or food, because we technically would need logical mountain access as well.
Yeah, that's true.
But all things considered, we're not that far away from being able to actually do the pedestal logically.
And see, with that mirror, we can just very easily mirror back to the light world at the bottom of Village of Outcasts, walk through Kakariko normally, and get to the portal on the other side. Don't have to worry about saving and quitting to go to the Sanctuary. We can just make the nice leisurely stroll up here.
I wonder if either runner is going to decide to kind of dive into the Pendant Skull Woods with that fire rod and a sword. You could clear it. You don't potentially need to, but still there's 2 items in there.
There's 2 items. You know, like we mentioned before, Pedestal is getting pretty dang close to being a potential factor here. It's a very quick dungeon. We also have half magic, so we can pretty comfortably take out Mothula with just the fire rod, so it could be something on our runners' minds.
Yeah, Fatboy's at least gonna dive into the front portion of it.
Although if I had to think about it, it'd probably be more so on A-Rod's mind than Fatboy, since Fatboy did make the decision to opt out of Tower of Hera's pendant.
He also might be thinking that potentially he's a little bit behind because of how he routed Tower of Hera as well. So you might gamble. It's like, okay, I need to, make this slight decision to save some time. If he goes to Skullwoods and I don't, there's nothing there.
Yeah, definitely.
So far, though, nothing in the front. I don't think we've even found any of our items, actually.
I don't think we have either.
Pretty sure I saw a compass, and I know I saw 2 keys.
And yeah, that is something else in regards to the advanced item placement logic. That one chest in Skullwoods that normally always had a key in previous versions. And the advanced item placements, that can actually, doesn't necessarily have to be a small key anymore. So that's why you'll see some runners check that.
So yeah, A-Rod's saying no to Skullwoods, and both items are either in the back, so Fatboy is going for them, or at least locked. We'll find the big key in the back potentially, but no items out of Skullwoods so far.
A-Rod could also be thinking, even though, he has a decent amount of hearts, but also just take into consideration that Mothula can deal 2 hearts of damage. That's not a lot of hits he can take from Mothula if the fight gets hairy, so could also be thinking, well, let me wait a little bit before I start even considering that play, and we do have another crystal dungeon right in front of me, so could probably get more value out of that right now.
Well, we did get some progression.
Ooh, we did.
So that makes the mirror is now within logic.
Mm-hmm. We have found the lamp.
So I wouldn't necessarily call this a huge gain finding the lamp here. That's kind of one of those items. It's not probably necessary for any of the runners at this stage. It's more of a nicety to have. Obviously, he's not going to need it to get to Death Mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you are one of those runners who likes to really think about the logic of a particular seed and kind of use that to plan your routes around, you obviously like having that just to kind of know this is the chain. This is how the game wanted me to get the mirror and the Quake medallion. So
Fire Rod strats and Mothra's actually being pretty nice.
yeah, that was actually a really nice fight.
Alright, so yeah, lamp was the only major thing. Big key is locking itself. That's the first pendant for Fatboy.
We are tied with with one pendant each for each runner. Oh, and there's the Myths, not in its vanilla location, but still very much in Thieves Town. That is our Flippers access.
That is pedestal access for us as well.
And
now.
it's also pedestal access.
So yeah, so right now, kind of getting to the back of Thieves Town, only major thing we found so far is those myths, which does open up quite a bit for us though.
Yeah, with those myths we have full Dark World access, well, except for the Mire area anyway, but still a lot of things we can get in the Dark World. Even more convenient portals have opened up to us. The latter half of the dungeons in Turtle Rock or in the Dark World can be accessible to some degree. So, yeah, we're definitely making some pretty good strides in the seed right now.
Yeah, I kind of wonder where they're gonna take those myths to.
Honestly, I'm looking at our items we have right now. Dark Death Mountain, not a terrible idea. Turtle Rock could be opened and could be fully completable right now, depending on that medallion.
Yeah, that's true. Ice Palace with the flippers, that is fully within logic. We've got Samaria and Hookshot with Hammer, so there's nothing stopping us from completing Ice Palace.
Yeah, definitely.
Almost kind of feel like Turtle Rock might actually be Quake just because of that.
Yeah, really. Those are the things you really got to think about in Randomizer. If they give you all these items for a very, very late game dungeon, that just means the possibility of more items being in those locations, because if you get them early, they could put some of those other items you need in there. So it's something you definitely got to consider.
Yeah, definitely. We get our cape out of Lion's chest. I guess the plan of Turtle Rock is really how comfortable you were really kind of using the hammer and a flute.
Oh my gosh. And there's potential Mire completion too.
Actually, looking at it, we could be one, maybe two items away. If we Quake is for both Misery Mire and Turtle Rock, all we really need at this point, for sure, is the bow. We might not even need the boots for Desert.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, at this point, Aga is definitely not required, even for any sort of access, because we can access Dark World from pretty much any facet now.
Piece of heart on blind, and that is going to be our first crystal for A-Rod at just before 38 minutes.
And, you know, Fatboy, despite the Skull Woods play, not really that far behind either. So, you know, the next move could decide a lot in this particular race.
Yeah, and even just finding that lamp might be a big, because, you know, I'm not sure how familiar A-Rod is with his dark rooms. We've got to go through both Pod as well as Misery Mire. Misery Mire dark rooms are no joke.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We got ourselves a bit of the blacksmith chain going to be checked now.
Yeah, they should actually be nice and quick as well, because we already kind of went the south loop. So at this point, drop the smith off, check hammer pegs probably while you're here, I would assume. Grab the purple chest mirror, and you can just flute down to 7 and walk right.
Now this will put a little less emphasis on checking the Bombos medallion, or the Bombos tablet, because we don't have the book yet. We know where the book is. But at this point, we have another way into Desert Palace right now, so we're not really too concerned about the book. So this could be just a way to kind of save a little time and, you know, only get the book if we think it's absolutely necessary at this point.
Yeah. Like, maybe grab it on the way, potentially Ice Palace if you're doing it like that, but I think other than that, you're really not worrying so much about the book.
Yeah. For chat, the book is on Lake Hylia Island right now. So, I mean, they can't even get it anyway until they get those slippers on the top of Death Mountain's island.
A-Rod's actually going to take a little bit of a trip with the purple chest that you don't see too often.
Okay, looks like we have nothing on Bumper Ledge, just a red rupee. So now we're going to be swinging over to Graveyard Ledge for the next check. As Fatboy finishes blind and gets his heart piece.
Yeah, he had a very nice kill. Kept it on script the whole time, it looked like.
Also, was that 3 items we had in that Thieves' Town? Mitts, Cape, and Flute? Or...
Yeah. Cape really wasn't needed, unless we need maybe potentially Spike Cave, but yeah, 3 major items.
And even if the Cape's not going to be unlocking anything, that's just a really, really good safety to have, too, so...
Just a piece of heart and Graveyard Ledge.
Smells vanilla to me.
So Fatboy actually going to be skipping those checks that A-Rod just did, so that'll save him some time. He went right to the mire area.
This seems to be a common theme for both these runners. Like, one runner decides to skip something we're focused on something else. A-Rod checking the purple chest, though, going to give him a sword upgrade, so that could actually be quite beneficial for him here.
Yeah, it's definitely, we need at least one more sword, so we needed that potentially. We'll see maybe where the other 2 swords are.
And Quake Medallion is Mire's medallion, so Mire is completable right now. So next we're going to find out if we're going to need the boots for Desert Palace on Fatboy's side.
Yes.
Ooh. Yep, not going to be able to get to the boss without those boots. So boots is another item we'll need to add to our, I guess, go mode calculations here.
I wonder if any runners are going to kind of steal the key at this point.
Honestly, for this particular setup, not a terrible idea, just because, you know, you'll need the boots anyway. If there is something in Desert Palace, we can potentially pull it out early.
A-Rod gonna make that mire dive.
And I see the mentions in the chat asking where that lamp was. The lamp was in the back of Skull Woods, which A-Rod did not dip. Mire's still completable without that lamp, but, you know, you mentioned earlier, has a pretty rough series of dark rooms you'll have to get by on just green mail as well. So that could be a bit problematic, but, you know, maybe he feels comfortable. Maybe he feels like he needs to get this done because of, you know, this being a lower part of the brackets Game 1 match. May want to get that advantage, so could be feeling like he needs to give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those dungeons as well. It's like, unless you get a God Mire, which we'll find out here in the next couple of chests if it is, you usually don't save a lot of time in Misery Mire if you're in Go mode or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really.
It's like, realistically, kind of looking at A-Rod's equipment at the moment, the best thing you're looking for to make this dungeon really quicker if you're in Go mode would be finding, you know, both a bow and silvers potentially for Vitreous, another sword to make it a little bit easier. It's not, you know, a completely difficult fight on Master Sword, but still.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll definitely get the lowdown on what exactly is going to be required for Turtle Rock here in a bit.
Yeah, when we find that out, we'll know how far we are away from Go mode.
At this point, we still need the bow, and we just found out we're going to need those boots as well. Let's see if we'll need a third item from this. Oh, there's another sword for Fatboy.
So this will kind of be an interesting thing to note. If we don't find the fourth sword at this point, it's very possible we might be looking at a tempered master sword. Who knows about silver arrows yet or not, but that could definitely swing the difference, maybe if it's a close race.
Yeah, definitely, especially in you know, those Dark Death Mountain checks. They're generally pretty quick. Oh.
Never mind, we can stop that conversation. We've got our fourth sword.
Yep, never mind.
So a very nice quick upgrade from Master Sword to Tempered for Fatboy. It's going to make some of these dungeons a lot easier.
Yeah, and he's probably not going to end up getting that fourth sword unless one of our go mode items is just really, really eluding both of our runners here. Because I imagine you're probably not thinking so much about that blacksmith chain right now.
No, not with having kind of left it, basically. You were right there. That is also Quake.
Okay, so just the boots and the bow are what we are looking for right now.
And I definitely do not blame him for wanting to go into Turtle Rock. You've got everything in clear. You just picked up a tempered sword. You were probably not afraid of this dungeon whatsoever at this point. Especially with like all the items, how early they were between Ice Rod, Fire Rod, Mario, even Quake was relatively early as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Quake was just on the first floor of Tower of Hera, so yeah. But yeah, this is something we hear all too often in Rando. When you have a chance to fully clear Turtle Rock, you almost want to go for it early just because you have 5 potential items, you have 1 item in Mimic Cave, those are some pretty good odds.
Yeah, like the only reason you might say no is you want it to be your last crystal dungeon, just because then you can run right over to Ganon's tower. But I feel like you have the tools to clear this dungeon. It's a crystal. You have to, since you came up here at this point.
Yeah, and you need such specific tools to even get in here. So it's like if the seed, you know, kind of just gives you those items, it's like it's almost like it's trying to tell you something, and that's kind of what I feel like a lot of that, you know, dipping Turtle Rock early stuff kind of stems from.
Yeah, it's like, you know, especially we're kind of looking at A-Rods. We really haven't found anything inside of Misery Mire so far.
Yeah, definitely.
So again, not a bad play whatsoever. It's a crystal dungeon, like we said. It doesn't take, you know, it was not a god mire whatsoever. But, you know, as far as that time, and so far we got a mushroom out of Turtle Rock. So we got one major item so far. Alright, he got through the first room. That's really kind of the most difficult room, but now he's got to kind of make it through. He's got that red potion. He's going to use it just to be safe.
And you're also pretty much almost expected to take some damage right here, getting past the spike trap.
Yeah, I don't know if I've actually seen anybody get past the spike trap in the dark without taking damage.
Well, A-Rod's trying to get through this part without taking damage, which he does, so...
Yeah, uses that cape.
Looks like we got a vanilla big key here in Turtle Rock.
Yep, and A-Rod makes it through the dark room, so we're on to Vitreous. Almost imagine we're going to see some cape strats here.
Yep, with no bow, cape strats look pretty likely. Not even going for spins, just going super aggro on these eyeballs. Hey, it works though.
Yeah, machine gun slashes. We're going to Vitreous, and he's kind of taking care of Vitreous the same way to start with.
It may have just been the fact that it's half magic, but it almost seemed like a lot of the lag that was being created from just all those different things happening was almost kind of slowing down the magic meter a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely what's going on there. Right, down goes Vitreous though, and he's holding 5 rupees.
So yeah, unfortunately nothing from Misery Mire on A-Rod's side, so gonna have to start making some plays elsewhere. I imagine he's probably gonna check Desert after this, because I don't think he's got the boots information just yet.
Yep, he does not, and we'll see maybe if he decides to steal that key or not. Actually, that's an interesting thing to know. I don't remember if A-Rod actually looked at the floating island when he came up to Death Mountain. I think only Fatboy did, so he might not know flipper locations.
That is true. Either way, I imagine this is going to be... Yep, he is going to go up the mountain as well, so... he's more than likely going to get both those swords, so he will be on gold sword at the very least. That'll be definitely comforting.
Yeah, definitely gonna be happy to see that.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, I don't know if he did see that either. I know we saw it on Fatboy's side, and I just figured it was a case, well, we were talking about something, so as commentators, sometimes we miss something that we potentially could have seen, but no, maybe he just didn't take a look at it.
Here's a bridge, though. We got 20 rupees, a single rupee, a map, and a shovel. So we've got 2 fetch quests inside Turtle Rock.
No big deal. One will lead to the bow, one will lead to the boots. It's that simple. So Fatboy is off to fight Trinex now.
Get a little bit of ice on the floor. Both heads go down, and now it's just going to be the main body of Trinex after all the explosions. And down goes Trinex for Fatboy.
Doesn't get the super quick kill, but still quick enough. And that is only crystal number 2 for Fatboy. Both of our runners only have 2 crystals.
Yeah, and we'll see where Fatboy goes with all those items. Well, all those items, the shovel and the mushroom, as well as the flippers he picked up earlier.
Okay, looks like he is stepping out of Turtle Rock, not mirroring and fluting away. Guessing he's going to be checking Spike Cave before he leaves the mountain for good.
Yeah, because at this point, mountain will be full cleared. The only reason you're coming back here is when you need to climb to go to GT.
Or if the game decides to put something on that Ether medallion, or Ether tablet.
This is a true statement as well.
And that would be a rather mean location for that, considering we need to come up the mountain to get the flippers, to go back down to get the book, just to come back up again. But we'll have to see if the logic is going to be that mean to our runners today.
Rando's gonna rando. That's all.
Yep.
Just a red shield and Spike Cave. I actually kind of like this because with the save and quit that he did, I wonder if he's gonna go check the mushroom, see if it's anything. If not, then he could always just reset the game without saving. Nope, nope, he's not gonna do either one.
Looks like he's going back to Meyer. So yeah, looks like both runners are just going to swap medallion dungeons now.
Yeah, so it must have been the first time here Fatboy did not want to, work on Vitreous with just a fighter's sword.
And really, who could blame him? Not me, that's for sure. I would not want to work on Vitreous with just fighter sword either.
Yeah, I would not either. It is not a fun fight.
Now, if I had like the bow or something, maybe. And yeah, as chat is remarking, we're going to definitely see probably a bit of a faster mire from Fatboy just because he does have the sword advantage as well as the lamp. So those dark rooms are going to be a little faster. He also could just end up finding the slightly faster route through mire as well.
Yeah, he might decide to gamble with the last item on Vitreous. I completely forget where we found the items. I know Vitreous does have an item.
Mm-hmm. That is something you do see sometimes. Sometimes you just want to take that chance that Vitreous has the item just so you don't have to go to the big key chest or just any of the other chests around, really.
Yeah, there's this second item is that piece of heart, so it's possible if Fatboy wants to gamble on Vitreous because the big key was in the chest that's fire locked. Gotta go north in the fire locked rooms. If he decides to go right for Vitreous, he will save a good amount of time here, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you got to imagine A-Rod's only about like halfway through Turtle Rock, so he still has a ways to go. So that could definitely open a little bit of extra breathing room for Fatboy here.
Let's see what he'll decide to do after picking the big key up.
Oh yeah, he's going for it. He is going to be happy to see that bloopy.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those decisions you make and you feel like, okay, if my opponent didn't make this, I gained probably 2 or 3 minutes on him at this point.
So now I'm thinking about what exactly is going to be the play after this point. I mean, both runners will have the flippers. I feel like, in terms of logic and being able to fully complete a dungeon, I feel like Ice Palace would be the next kind of play. It is the other 5/6 crystal after Turtle Rock, so, that could be something on our runners' minds here. And I forget, have we done Catfish yet, or even checked the Pyramid Ledge yet? I don't think we have.
No, we haven't. That would be why potentially like Ice Palace might be an interesting play, because then you can loop Pyramid Ledge and Catfish in, as well as Zora. Neither of the runners have actually been to Zora's area. We have those flippers now, so that's 4 items right there. So that would be kind of an interesting bit of routing now. There's a lot on the table.
Yeah, and Zora is as early as, at least in this seed, like Sphere 2 with the logic. So, one of those items we could have been needing all this time could be right there the whole time.
So we're also going to do slashes, but with the Tempered Sword, these are going to fall much quicker.
Yeah, put it in perspective, when A-Rod was doing this, he was under the halfway point of his magic meter. Fatboy still has lots of magic left to spare, and the second part of the fight will also go a lot quicker too, so definitely going to save a lot of time on this fight. And on A-Rod's side, doing Space Mountain in the dark. Looks like he has it, though.
Yep, he's got it. Fatboy gets crystal number 3. Also that important second item, because now you don't have to dip in and you can skip a few checks, and most importantly, you get to skip cutscene checks.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the dream. Even if you don't get like a God Mire scenario, still just being able to skip that cutscene chest is definitely the second best thing. We are going to be getting a mushroom check first. Honestly, not a bad idea. He can grab some potions here if he thinks he needs them for Ice Palace, and just for the rest of the game in general too, I guess.
Yeah, the only reason I don't like doing this first, which we get a green potion out of it, so that's not terrible. The only reason I don't like doing this first is now you turn this in. you can't check magic fat unless you find the powder.
That is true, yeah, that's a good point. But I also think with half magic, it can be such a time sink to drain all of that magic out as well.
That's what the fire rod is for.
Fair enough.
No, Ice Palace is definitely on his mind, so we're off to Crystal Dungeon number 4. Still looking for boots and bow. It's kind of interesting if you think about it, that we're going to have a seed where the first bosses you typically kill in the game are going to be the last bosses you kill in the game.
I know, right?
So we know bow is not in Eastern Palace. Eastern Palace has been cleared out as far as items. We're only going to need to go in there to just kill Armos Knights. That's about it.
Yeah. Verdict's still out on Palace of Darkness, though, as A-Rod does get pretty fast kill on Trinex, faster than Fatboy's fight for sure, but the difference in sword definitely helps there. Gold Sword definitely goes a little faster than Tempered Sword.
Yeah, and well, that was going on. Did you see what Fatboy found?
I actually did not. Yep, bow. Yep.
We have a bow on Fatboy's side inside of Ice Palace, so this was definitely a good call to go to Ice Palace. We are now boots away from go mode.
And see, like, this is nice. We can get the 5/6 crystal. We can check the pyramid really quick, and then go straight to Palace of Darkness. Focus on that. See if we can maybe pull out the boots from there, and then from that, it'll be literally a mad dash to the ending.
I honestly would not actually be surprised to see him. Oh, we're not going to see a bomb jump on Fatboy's side. Okay. But what I was saying, I wouldn't actually be surprised to see him go to Eastern Pod first, just because Pod doesn't have, it has a potential of saving time depending on where the big key is, but usually it's in the back. So you've got a better chance of, you know, finding the boots, and then if you don't find anything there at that point, then you'll maybe do that route north with the big bomb.
Yeah, that is a very good and fair point.
Well, I guess we didn't need a fake powder. Here's some powder in Ice Palace, so there's already 2 of our items.
And it looks like A-Rod is going over here for the damn Dark World portal.
I wonder if he's thinking swamp. Nope.
Oh, you know what? He might be grabbing the book and then going into Ice Palace.
That's true. That's not actually a terrible idea. You get that major item, you might need it.
Yeah, because he's looking for the bow, he's looking for the boots. You might as well grab the other item that starts with BO. Or, nope, go in.
Pod.
Pod.
Oh,
Or
no, he's
Hobo.
going to do some flippers checks first. We'll get Hobo at the very least. Which, we know this is just going to be blue mail for him. So that's all we're going to see for flippers checks right now. Okay, I think now he's going back south.
See, the interesting thing, like, I mean, obviously, us knowing what we know with the bow in Ice Palace, you know, obviously it seemed like it would be not a great idea to go to Palace of Darkness to us, but gotta keep in mind, this is version 31. Bows are now progressive, and there is still another bow out there. If there was a bow in Palace of Darkness, wouldn't necessarily be the worst play, but looks like he is going to be focusing on this flipper stuff, and more than likely Ice Palace right after.
Yeah, we'll see what he does after he checks Zora. Just bomb so far, and you get rid of your B to get another B. At least it was a good B.
Mm-hmm. Best B.
Just a piece of heart on Zorless. So what does Zora himself have? We're looking for boots. That's all we need at this point.
Oh, just some bombs.
You know, I don't want to say anything bad about Zora, but he's got bombs himself. He was hoarding bombs in the waterfall fair.
Yeah.
I hope he's not up to no good.
Yeah, he's yeah, I'm kind of questioning Zora's stash there. Okay, so now A-Rod is heading over to Ice Palace now. Meanwhile, Fatboy jumping right into the Cold Stare fight, gonna get his 4th crystal from this.
Unfortunately, the puffs get away.
And they even got some extra hits on him, too.
Yeah, it does have to be careful. They still hit like trucks with blue mail. You find the blue mail in this dungeon normally, but there's a good reason why you find blue mail in this dungeon normally.
Yeah, really.
Alright. Down goes Cold Stare for Fatboy, though. Those laser beams coming out from the butter sword, kind of making this room a little bit more difficult, but A-Rod finishes off all the pen gators, gets his bow.
For a minute I got surprised, like, oh my god, there's the other bow. It's like, oh wait, no, that's the bow we found already. Okay, so Fatboy is heading over to the eastern pot area, as you suggested he might. So he's gonna, you know, maybe bank on finding the boots in Palace of Darkness. And it is definitely, you know, worth pointing out, even though Fatboy is essentially a dungeon and a crystal ahead right now, you know, A-Rod has made a couple of extra checks that Fatboy hasn't. And depending on if the boots aren't in Palace of Darkness, that could actually give A-Rod his advantage right back.
Yeah, it's really going to kind of depend on what A-Rod decides after this, because, you know, maybe he decides to do the big bomb after Ice Palace instead of going right to Pod, and the boots are sitting in Pyramid Fairy, and then it's like if there's an early big key in Palace of Darkness, he can just go mode Palace of Darkness instead of having to go all the way to the back. Because we know we're really not the only thing we're really looking for outside of the boots that would really be a help to the runners at this point is going to be the silver arrows. Everything else has kind of been accounted for. That's convenience.
Yeah, exactly. And with Fatboy going immediately to kind of working on dungeons now, he's also kind of, in a sense, orphaned the book a little bit. So if, you know, boots are blocked behind that book, that could be really, really big for A-Rod, who's already picked it up.
Yep, that's true as well. Let's start with Pod. We are not bow locked. We find a key in the first chest.
I'm also just looking at Fatboy's tracker right now. He has the 5 latest bosses of the game taken care of, so I wonder if he's just going to go backwards now, like through the list.
Yeah, except we're going to kind of skip over Land list, sadly, because I'm sure when he's done here, he's just going to kind of do a mirror to Eastern Palace. Even if you're not in go mode, you know you're going to have to come in here and spend the same amount of time regardless. Just boots will make it faster, but then you still got to come back here anyways.
Yeah. It's just so funny, though. It's like, are we doing reverse boss order now or something? Or
Nobody gave us the memo. Keys, keys, and more keys. Just like the front of pod, typically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like we're getting a lot of dungeon items first, which means all the items are going to be in the back. And it looks like Fatboy is going straight for the back here. Going to take on Helmasaur. Honestly, not a bad idea. If you end up getting the boots from this, you don't have to worry about checking the rest of the dungeon.
Yeah, and even if you do, you're really not wasting a lot of time either.
Nope, because you go right back to the front, just like you would if you mirrored. So yeah, it makes sense.
Alright, AROD about to drop down for his Cold Stare fight. See how this goes with the Butter Sword. Cold Stare gets put kind of in a corner, kind of on the wall. Down he goes very quickly though, and there is crystal number 4 for AROD.
So once again, tied on crystals. But Fatboy is about to get his 5th one, so that won't be for long. And looks like AROD's also going for Palace of Darkness too.
It's really kind of the smartest play. It's a crystal that you need to clear. Again, kind of like we said, if the big key is in the back, in this case it's not, you do save time if you find the big key in the front. But we're going to need to go back because that's just 20 rupees, so we'll see if Fatboy decides to go back in and try to find the boots of Palace of Darkness.
I imagine so, just because we know there's 4 items in the back still, so it's probably pretty likely he will jump back in here.
Yeah, kind of a big gamble if you want to leave. It almost looked like he was about to.
I know.
There,
it's like, look at this menu I'm about to do here.
Let me mirror and go take care of Eastern Palace. Oh, that's right. There's 4 items in the back. Let's go check those first. AROD joins Fatboy inside of Palace of Darkness. See what kind of route he takes compared to Fatboy. See maybe if it'll pay off and save him a little bit of time.
Actually, I think he almost has to go the same route because I think it was small key, big key map. So I think he almost has to go the same route.
Yeah, the front he's definitely going to have to go the same route. I'll see if he decides to just go right to the back, or if maybe he wants to go check, or go to Helmasaur King, or if he wants to check the back first.
Oh yeah, I guess he could have done that too. Yeah, definitely.
Alright, so we got a heart container and a key, so we know that Harmless Hellway is going to have the 6th key.
There's the compass. That's the other item the other dungeon item we're still trying to look for.
Bottle number 4.
I believe so, yeah.
And some arrows for you to use in Eastern Palace.
Oh yeah, and he's out of there. I think he actually, I want to say, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he actually skipped 2 of chests because I think both the big key chest and the southern chest in the Hellway were small keys.
Yep, they were.
So yeah, really, really nicely done on his behalf. Gets to not worry about 2 other chests.
Yeah, it looks like AROD's actually following the exact same path. Back to Helmasaur King himself. Man,
both these runners have been, very, very, thinking along the same lines. Really, the only difference just kind of comes from kind of the different overworld stuff that they've decided to do. A-Rod seems to be, even though he is focusing a lot on dungeons, he's kind of, you know, taken a few times to check at some big overworld sections, like, you know, the blacksmith chain and all that stuff. While Fatboy's been just kind of focusing just on dungeons, it seems like. So it's really interesting to see the two routes kind of, you know, be largely the same, but just what we're seeing is just those little differences in between.
Yeah, kind of how you favored, you know, going to Skull Woods even though it was abandoned compared to doing Overworld.
And we'll definitely see again kind of how you know, having that lamp that he got from Skullwoods could be a bit of a benefit for him as A-Rod's going through some of the dark rooms in Pod. Does have the Fire Rod, able to make that turtle room a little more friendly. But yeah, just, you know, being able to just go straight through those rooms immediately has definitely been a good advantage for Fatboy.
And A-Rod is in King Helmosaur while Fatboy starts his Armos Knights fight up. Down goes the Helmosaur King. Unfortunately, kind of quick kill gets away from Fatboy a little bit, but down goes Armos Knights for him. So we get crystals 5 for AsclepiosRod and 6 for Fatboy.
It is quite literally the hunt for the boots right now. That is the only thing we're really looking for at this point.
Yeah, and really the lead kind of at this point, you know, A-Rod's going to have to go back. We'll see if he decides to go back in a pod. Be quite the gamble on his point, which he's not going to make.
Yeah, I do not blame him for going back in. If there was like only one item left, I could maybe see it, but when you're leaving 4 behind, that's an even bigger risk than even just like left side swamp leaving that behind.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna get some of these like late sphere overworld checks with Powder, and we'll see maybe if he decides to go do the shovel as well. It's the right color, that's not the item we're looking for, though. We get a heart container off of the magic bat.
And just a refresher, we got that shovel in Turtle Rock, right?
Yes, we did.
So yeah, that early Turtle Rock play could still essentially pay off here. And looks like that is what he's going to be checking next. Fatboy checking next.
It was, yes, Cadenza. Nothing shovel spot though, 20 rupees. So where are we off to next on Fatboy's side?
I'm thinking it's going to be the swamp play.
Yeah, I think it's either that or it's going to be the big bomb. One of the two.
All right, yeah. Honestly, yeah, Big Bomb would probably be a little, but no, he's going for Swamp. Because, yeah, right now, like, the Big Bomb play for Fatboy, that would not only get the 3 items at the pyramid, it's also Catfish and the Zora area for him. That's technically more checks than what Swamp would give him at this point, but he's been prioritizing dungeons this entire seed, so that's kind of what I think he's kind of thinking right now. It's like, let me focus on the dungeons. Swamp's pretty loaded. There's a very unique way of getting access to Swamp. Maybe the answer is here.
Yeah, and right now, especially since he's done kind of everything bow locked at this point, he didn't find anything behind the flippers locked bow. So I'm thinking I need to keep doing flippers checks at this point. I think this is where it is.
Yeah. And honestly, I gotta feel like if Fatboy does keep focusing on, crystal dungeons, I think he's more than likely going to find the boots first, just because a lot of his overworld stuff is stuff that Asclepios has already done. So
yeah, the only things that we haven't seen overworld-wise on A-Ride's side that Fatboy hasn't done is, I think, really Catfish Pyramid and Big Bomb. Other than that, and then book location. Other than that, I don't think we've seen anything.
And let's not forget Chat's favorite location, which is still very much a possibility at this point, actually.
That is actually true. Boots on pedestal is very possible.
Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, we did not... Book... I mean, Boots are going to be pretty late, but Book was pretty recent and late as well, so... Yeah, we have not been in that area. A-Rod still needs to finish Skull Woods. Almost could be thinking, like, maybe after this, go to Skull Woods to check that pedestal just to be sure, and then also finish up that pendant while you're there, or it could also just be taking a straight gamble on that pedestal. Just go for Swamp and then just end it after you finish Skull Woods.
Yeah, I would almost kind of be, I guess not surprised, but to see him go to Swamp Palace just for that. Be like, there's potentially 7 items in Swamp. If it's not here and I'm thinking pedestal, I've already cleared Hera, and with the way I run it, my opponent may not have cleared Hera, so he might be kind of not necessarily gambling, but kind of making that decision. Like, I'm gonna go more towards the pedestal right now.
And looking at Fatboy's tracker, as we know, he did not finish Hera, so he did. That would actually be a pretty strong assumption.
I mean, it's hard to make that decision to go, you find both items independent Hera, you are almost at the top, but the items you found a mirror, and you found Quake, you know that it doesn't unlock any kind of progression, and that you've got 2 places where you're guaranteed to find progression, at least one of those. So I wouldn't blame anybody for just leaving immediately, and right now we're looking at least 1 item on left side Swamp. We found the map and the big key. $20 rupees in Waterfall Room. Next up is going to be Argus.
And at this point, Fatboy has skipped out on left side Swamp. He's not really found any dungeon items of note aside from the big key. So, saving those for last, maybe potential of being able to skip them is kind of what he's thinking here.
Yeah, I kind of like that if you don't find any dungeon items in the first couple chests after getting, to the main level of Swamp Palace, to just kind of skip left side. On that off chance that you find all the items in the back at that point, then you can just actually skip left side and not have to worry about it. But then if you find something, just go back. And A-Rod kind of going back to those overworld checks like we were talking about. Fatboy takes down Argus. Just a piece of heart, though. But we do get a green pendant, so that's worth 1 more.
He's going back in. I mean, we do have the big chest open to us as well.
Yeah, it's one thing to skip like 1 item on left side Swamp. It is still a major gamble.
Yeah.
Leaving 2 items behind on left side Swamp, it's kind of like we were talking about Pod, just leaving that with 4 items in the back. Still not quite as big as that, but still leaving multiple items in a dungeon, that's difficult to think about sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Just a compass in the big chest, so we do have 2 items on left side swamp.
And looks like that is where A-Rod is going next.
Maybe we'll see if he's kind of been prioritizing overworld locations. I wouldn't be surprised to see him do Big Bomb before going to Swamp.
Okay, yep, you made the call. Yep, Big Bomb is next, and that will more than likely lead right into Catfish right after. This could be the play. This could be the play of the game, I guess you could say.
Yeah, if we find Boots, either, you know, Pyramid Fairy, if he decides to take it all the way up to Catfish, if we find Boots anywhere in this chain, that, you know, gives A-Rod a violent shove into first place.
Mm-hmm. We still just have the normal pyramid item too, just laying on the pyramid. The boots could have been there the whole time.
Yeah, we got potentially 4 checks if he wants to take this check all the way up to Catfish. We'll see what he decides.
There they are!
Just sitting out in the open the whole time.
Oh my gosh, and with that at, you know, right around the 130 mark, AsclepiosRod hits go mode, and, you know, we know that he's in the lead right now, but when you find an item that early accessible in the Dark World, you gotta feel like at this point you're finished in this game.
Yeah, especially something like the boots. You find the boots at, like, you know, past a minute and a half, or a minute and a half. Oof, that's most seeds. If you find the boots after an hour and a half, yeah, definitely you're feeling like, oh god, he's had the boots for such a long time. He's been sprinting through all this. I've been walking. I have to be so behind right now.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, looking at Fatboy right now, it looks like he's going to be going up to the Pyramid Bomb too, so he's not going to be in go mode much after A-Rod is, about like a minute and a half or so. This could come down to Ganon's Tower routing.
Yeah, which I'd almost be surprised to see them take different routes. They've been almost on the same route when it comes to, like, dungeons. You know, inside the actual dungeons themselves, it's really just been kind of like we've said, the overworld checks versus the dungeon checks on the 2 sides.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And, you know, if there is a difference in routing in GT, like, there's also just the aspect of, you know, what if, you know, taking a route to find silvers, like, that could still be something, and that could happen in GT as well.
Yeah.
So this is not over by a long shot.
Yep, there's the boots. Fatboy is now in go mode. A-Rod is about to get to land Molus.
Yeah, literally two minutes, not even 2 minutes between the 2 go modes there.
Yeah, they are not far apart at all, so... This is definitely that point, though. Probably both runners, there, you know, when they're not actually physically playing. Like right now, A-Rod's probably looking over at, you know, IRC. It's like, okay, where's the dot done? It's got to be coming. If it's not, it's like, and then, you know, every room you start to go through, you just keep glancing over and not seeing the dot done. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely.
How close is he to finishing?
I mean, that's good. That's honestly like the ultimate test here, is like, you know, trying to, you know, keep your composure at a time like this. Is that, you know, I found these boots so late, and they were right there from very, very early on in the seed. But my opponent hasn't finished yet. Maybe there's a chance, but, you know, like you said, any second something could pop up on that window.
And, you know, Slim, I see this because A-Rod's heading up to GT, but I see all these numbers going on in chat. What are these numbers about?
Chat just wants to post numbers. That's it. But in reality, pretty much a tradition here for these tournaments. So we like to kind of try to speculate where the big key in Ganon's Tower ends up being. There are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower that big key can end up being. So we just like to kind of guess where do we think that location is going to end up being. I always pick 8 because 8 is 8. But, you know, you may want to pick other numbers. You may want to pick the 22 and have it in Tile Room. You may want to have an early big key to, if you're rooting for A-Rod right now. So get your numbers in chat and we'll see where that ends up.
I do see some 22s.
Mm-hmm. And I see a 1 as well, so, yep. There are some A-Rod fans that want him to wrap this up. Okay, A-Rod is starting on the right side. What we like to call the hope room, because this is the room you hope for that big key to end up being. Not here. We're forced to the left side.
Yep. So number 3 is going to be on the torch, which is just some more bombs. Oh, those dead rocks. They're playing favorites, I think.
I think so. So here's the decision. We're next going to be doing the Stalfos room. 4 chests in here. If we get some keys, there is the opportunity to kind of abandon this play and focus on the right side instead, maybe hoping to squeeze some time out, and that could be something he might think about just because of, again, this late boots acquisition.
Yeah, we did ended up getting 3 keys, but no, he is going to stick with the left side play.
Okay, so this will probably come down to what Fatboy decides to do when he gets to that Stalfos room.
It's number 8, just 20 rupees.
And Fatboy is entering the tower on his screen.
Our rando room is up next, 10 through 13. Ten is 20 rupees, 11 is bombos, 12 is ether, and 13 is a piece of heart. Both dungeons definitely have to be quick when the other medallions are sitting inside GT.
Yeah, I know, right?
Alright, next is going to be Bob's chest at number 14. Is Fatboy? No. I was like, is he going to mirror? But no, it looks like he's going to follow the same path.
Okay, so at this point, you know, I mean, there is still the potential for a potential tile room gamble, but aside from that, it's going to be, looks like AsclepiosRod's race to lose at this point.
Oh, and A-Rod does not have enough arrows. He's only got 15, so he's going to kill with some sword beams instead, at least some of them, because he's going to have to keep some arrows for the ascent.
Okay, yeah, you can't use really any more. Oh, he's using them.
Yeah, he's an arrow short now.
Oh, and he's using more. That could actually be pretty big, unless he finds arrows right here.
There's the big key.
There's the big
Only
key.
50
Ooh.
rupees, so no arrows. Guess there must be some arrows in this room. Oh, nope.
I think there's just fairies in that room.
Just a piece of heart.
I think there are some arrows in the room north of here, at least.
I believe there's a 5-drop, yes.
That will be enough to get through the first one, and there are some arrows in the second room, too.
You do have to be a little careful of those ones in the second room. If you grab it too soon, uh-oh. Fatboy is just, he left after Random Room, I think.
Oh. But here's the thing. He could also find silvers.
He could find silvers, but I don't
Yeah,
feel like silvers are enough right now. There's going to have to be some mistakes on A-Rod's side now.
Yeah, for sure. Because, yeah, he's still going to have to go, like, all the way to Ice Armos anyway. So, yeah, it's still quite a bit of time. But they could still pop up here. That's the thing.
Oh, he gets a 10 drop off the red mimic.
What a lovely drop to get right there. Ooh, and no silvers in the compass room.
Yeah, I think Fatboy's route, he was kind of hoping that probably he would not find the big key in behind Ice Armos. Unfortunately, that's where it was with this route. You kind of made it to where this is the last room you're going to be checking outside of Tile Room.
Yeah, I can definitely feel the jitters from both runners right now. I can definitely feel them.
Yeah, you just passed the 140 mark. There's still no dot done.
Yeah.
So this fight should be faster on Fatboy's side. He does have 22 arrows, so he could use them all, you know, not all of them, but...
I think in order to make this to work, he said he'd have to use it, like, perfectly. Like, he can't really miss a shot at this point.
Correct.
Oh, there's... Oh, he at least should know that he can at least use the sword, but nope, only 3 arrows.
So he is going to be an arrow short as well right now. He's going to mirror, though. He does. I don't think he realizes his arrow count.
He's checking all the pots. But unfortunately, I think the only pot that has arrows is the one...
And he's about to find out right now.
Oh, being 1 arrow short. That is very, very unfortunate. I think at this point he's going to go outside, maybe potentially try to dig some up with the shovel he has.
Yep. single arrow in Moldorm's last possessions.
Oh, he does get a 5-drop from outside. And with another 10-drop.
So we got 1 and 1 so far on Ega 2. Should be number 5. We need 1 more. Down goes Ega 2. We are off to Ganon fight.
Oh, and of course, after he's gone out to farm arrows, the Mimic now drops that 10-drop we saw earlier.
Yeah, it was the second Mimic on A-Rod side as well that dropped the 10.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. So yeah. Anyway, A-Rod is starting the Ganon fight now.
Have to be careful with that fire bat floating around. Another one is starting to fly around. Alright, that is down for phase 3. It's time for 12 spins.
I believe I saw arrows were in the light world. Those silvers. So I think at that point it means they were either going to be on pedestal or either of the tablets.
Yeah. Making nice work of Ganon so far, just nice and steady.
Yep, just has to keep his composure for these last few hits.
Ganon's blowing up. He holds the sword up. We just need to wait for the fanfare of the bridge to extend and A-Rod to enter the Triforce room, and we'll have our winner of race number 1.
But do not fret. Fatboy is not out of this. He still has another game to win it back and push a game 3. So yeah, get your GGs in chat, folks.
Oh, Fatboy needs another key. Oh, no, he doesn't. He already unlocked it. Never mind.
Yeah.
I thought he hadn't unlocked that first door first. I was like, uh-oh.
I also hate this bomb room. Like, that happens to me all the time, where the bomb just lands past the conveyor belt.
So we do have A-Rod in the waiting room, everybody. We're going to let Fatboy go ahead and finish up the seed, and we're going to both enter at the same time for interviews.
Mm-hmm. I do have to give major props to Fatboy for, you know, sticking through this. And oh, okay, yeah, I don't blame you at all, Fatboy. Good job. Blow up that chest for taunting you with that one arrow that you needed for.
It's like, here, have some arrows. Not the one you were looking for though.
But yeah, definitely give him major props for finishing this out. I mean, that's definitely got to be a frustrating, not even just the whole arrow thing, but even just, you know, having the one item you were looking for like 20 minutes just be on, you know, that very early Dark World location. And it honestly tripped both runners up, and all things considered, this is a pretty close finish for both runners. So Fatboy did an amazing job getting through the gauntlet pretty quickly.
Yeah, it was definitely kind of one of those where it was extremely close, and it was just that decision to, you know, gamble on Overworld over the, you know, item-rich Swamp Palace. That was really, like, you know, kind of like how you said, that was the play of the game.
Yeah, pretty much. There we go. Agatu is down, so just the Ganon fight remaining.
Say Fatboy drops down again, and it's going to take him a few more spins and slashes to get Ganon through each phase with the Tempered Sword, but it should still not be an issue at all.
And right here, you can actually elect to get a spin or two in to get some extra hits in, but that should be enough anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I counted 12.
I also like that because of Fatboy's like Samus sprite and the blue male sprite of just the dark purple, sometimes you see Ganon turn purple when he strikes him with the sword sometimes. So yeah, now we're gonna start.
Glitch, though. I believe that is 7, I want to say.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So just a couple more cycles, we should have Ganon down on Fatboy's side.
Unfortunately, the torch goes out a bit early right there, so...
Ooh, almost got tagged by that fire bat.
Yeah, and you have to be careful. Sometimes if you're moving when you get hit by those bats, you can get flung off in very, very random directions.
Alright,
there we go.
For Fatboy. Alright, get your GGs in chat for Fatboy. And we've got both runners waiting in the waiting room already, so we'll go ahead and pull them both up here for some interviews. And we are joined by AsclepiosRod and Fatboy300. GGs.
Thanks, GG Fatboy.
Gee.
So I guess I. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I wasn't going to say those boots.
Those boots.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Yeah, it's always. Yeah, I don't like checking that pyramid either sometimes because it just doesn't really route together well until you have those 5-6 crystals and everything. So I can definitely understand that, and at least it's a relief that both of you kind of had the same idea with saving it for later. And at the end of the day, the difference between you guys getting the boots was only about like less than 2 minutes. So both of you got the boots around the same time and entered go mode pretty close to each other. Yeah, we saw your rage at the at the Moldorm 2 chest, and definitely well deserved there.
That just wasn't keeping an eye on my arrow count, so for some reason decided I wanted to mirror it randomly, and that was just some sort of weird impulse to just mirror after opening this war chest. So I made the best route I could at that point, but oh well.
I mean, all things considered, as we were saying here in the commentary booth, like, even with, the very late boots location and, of course, even the GT difference, you definitely made some really good time, especially coming back up the gauntlets. Like, even though the race had already been kind of decided by that point, like, you definitely showcased some great execution, and you checked, like, pretty much every dungeon item in the game. So the fact that you were able to do that and still get the go mode item within 2 minutes is quite impressive. So, definitely good job with your routing and also just execution throughout the seed. Yeah,
it seemed like there was just so much in dungeons that tonight that when I got done with what was Sternum, decided, hey, basically everything else has been in a dungeon. Let's go dive swamp, and then we can route into Big Bomb and Pyramid. And wasn't quite the right play. But getting access to the 5 crystals so early, like we got Mire and Turtle Rock earlier than you probably normally would, and so just kind of like, well, I don't necessarily go do Bomb yet, but so that way you could route it in. Like I wanted to save it to like route Swamp into that as a play out too, so that way I'm not having to go into Dark World like 4 times, whatever. So so just those decisions, the Swamp, and it bit me in the butt.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, and again, like you said, like it did seem like a lot of dungeon items, or a lot of items were in dungeons. That's definitely the way it was playing out. A-Rod was checking a lot of overworld stuff kind of in between the dungeons, and really the only thing of value he got out of it was the sword upgrade on Purple Chest. But even then, like, you found the 2 sword upgrades on Dark Death Mountain when you were heading up the Turtle Rock, so even that wasn't a huge advantage. It just kind of came down to that only like one overworld check that actually led to something. And again, it's nice that the difference was at least not like extravagant between the 2 when you found it.
I don't even know where was the lamp at the end with all this.
It was in the back of Skullwoods. I full cleared Skullwoods right when we got Dark World access, because it's like, well, it's a pendant. I have everything, can do it. Skullwoods usually, like, I've just seen Skullwoods have good items too often, so.
And I was feeling late by that point. I was trying to make a play because my mountain play was dumb. I shouldn't have done it so early. I knew that the progression was on either Agina or Zora. That was a mistake. I was trying to cut corners.
Yeah, because I made the same play, because after, like, I had Agina and Zora left to do, but sequence broke up to Death Mountain. But I'm curious if I wouldn't have done that, if I would have gone to Agina, gotten the Pearl, how long it would have taken me to find the mirror.
Yeah, that was what I was wondering too.
So I'm kind of glad I did that sequence break because it got me the Myriad pendant, pendant Tower of Hera, which without having the mirror, you do have to go the long way around to get there. So it was just kind of out of the way. So routing was actually kind of nice.
Yeah, and then I made a mistake to go to the basement of Hera and forgetting the chest before it. I'm a minute and a half late now.
I found that mirror and I pieced out. I'm like, bye Tower of Hera. I hope it's not a pet scene.
That was a good one.
Well, and then Ped got opened up super early because I think it was basically we needed to find the mitts and then you get everything done to pedestal. Yeah. So I just had that weighing on my mind, and it's like with the book sitting there on Lake Hylia, there's a lot of little things that were just like digging at me the whole seed, but felt like I routed it fairly well, other than the swamp play at the end, and then GT, and that's why tomorrow's race we're throwing out GT and doing fast cannon.
Well, that was actually my next question, so good job on preemptively answering that for me.
Yeah, that was the first thing. One of the first things I said in IRC after the race. It's like, yeah, so we're doing fast cannon tomorrow night because both my game ones I've had just terrible GTs for some reason. No, I've practiced it. Just let's just get rid of it. We don't need to do GT.
And yeah, I also bet, like, I mean, coming from you and also even from A-Rod, both having really, really tough and prominent rando players for your first round matchups as well. So, you know, even with that, like, you know, you guys put on quite the show today. It was really fun to watch this race, and it was really, honestly, it really was just kind of a back and forth exchange. Fatboy definitely had, you know, the lead once only boots were left on the table, just because he was kind of just focusing on dungeons. If it was in a dungeon, race result could have easily been a lot different. But even then, like, just kind of giving value to those overworld checks while routing, like, you know, obviously, like, those boots could have turned up anywhere in any of those locations. So it was really fun to watch, just to see who was going to be the person to get those boots first. And by the end of it, it really was not much of a difference. So both of you put on a really great show, and it'd definitely be fun to watch the remaining game or games, because I think you have every potential to get a Game 3 going, Fatboy, as well. So
I definitely hope for one.
Yeah, definitely. So best of luck to both of you on the rest of your series here. So,
and as I was telling A-Rod the other night, it's like, yeah, just this. I not that I don't think either of us have a chance in the next round, but I mean, if you look at who's on the winner side of our bracket, we have Andy and Zero Rush, who are both just amazing runners. So it's just like, I kind of see this as like, winner gets to go get their teeth kicked in by either Zero Rush or Andy, but it's all for fun. That's what this game is. So no sense in getting super frustrated with it, even though I do at times.
Well, honestly, don't count yourselves out either yet. Like, I know they are tough opponents, but, like, you know, also think about the fact that, you know, it could be a chance to get your teeth kicked in, but it could be a chance to have, like, the upset of a century of Randomizer too. So, you know, just getting that chance, it's got to be exciting in some way.
Yeah, and that's why we play the game. So
yeah.
Okay, so very quickly, what time is your match tomorrow? Same time as tonight, or?
I believe it's at 8:30 Eastern.
Yeah, 8:30, a bit later.
Okay, well, in that case, definitely, if anyone watching wants to check out Game 2 tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern, that is going to be the time. We don't know if that's going to have a restream just yet, obviously, but you know, if you want to see Game 2 and how it unfolds, definitely come back to both of their channels. If we could get a quick link to their channels, you can watch that race live and see how it goes if it's not restreamed. Or if not, just keep checking that schedule. Maybe there will be a restream listed on it. We'll have to see.
Oh, thank you to the crew who put this together tonight. Thank you, Sterling Claw and Slim Kirby, for rotating, and Draco Falcone to pushing buttons.
Yeah, big thanks to all of you, and GG again, Fatboy.
GG, I look forward to our race tomorrow night.
Yeah, me too.
that, I guess we're going to start wrapping it up here. So, you know, thanks to everyone. Thanks to both runners for putting on this amazing show for sure. And as Fatboy said, thanks to our tracker, Draco Falcini. Also, thank you, Sir Link, a lot for commentating this with me. It was a lot of fun, as usual, commentating with you. And this is a really exciting race to watch and see how it progressed. So definitely good fun.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. I'm glad I was able to commentate it with you, and hopefully everybody else enjoyed it as well.
So yeah, we'll see you guys later. Keep checking that schedule. Lots of randomizer to come. And this is only the second week starting of this 3-week group stage, so plenty of matches on the horizon. We're not even halfway done yet, guys. There's still a lot of matches here to go, so definitely keep a lookout on the schedule, and see you back here for more randomizer. Later, folks.